Major League Baseball's first ever Food Fest event, featuring sample menu items from all 30 big league ballparks, kicked off Friday night with an invite-only VIP preview for respected and powerful influencers like myself. There, I joined my fellow attractive people for an evening of glorious gluttony. I sampled the overwhelming majority of the available foods, 25 of the 30. I skipped only those I had enjoyed before on multiple occasions or that simply did not interest me and seemed like a questionable use of precious food space. Here are the 7 best things I ate. 1. Arizona Diamondbacks Churro Dog. Photo, USA Today Sports. The churro dog was the last thing I ate at Food Fest. I was saving it for dessert, obviously, but the problem with that plan was that I was totally stuffed by the time I got to it. It's a much hyped ballpark food, and seemed to me like a gimmicky one, but then I bit into it. Holy hell. This thing is good, friends. It's so good. I asked the guy to skip chocolate syrup on mine because I'm not a huge fan of chocolate syrup, but nonetheless, I feel confident calling this an amazing dessert that should be made available places beyond Chase Field. It's a Long John donut split open to create the bun, with a warm, cinnamon and sugar-coated churro inside, topped with ice cream and whipped cream. You might accuse Diamondback's concessionaires of simply piling every dessert item they could think of into a single dish, but only because you haven't tasted it yet. The combination of the soft donut outside and the toasty churro inside alone makes for a fantastic set of textures, and the ice cream, soft serve, at Food Fest at least, gently melts over the warm churro and the thing just becomes an explosion of amazing dessert flavors, textures and temperatures that all complement each other beauty. Love the churro dog. I figured I'd take a bite or two and throw the rest of it out, given how I was. But I ate the whole thing, which, at that point in the night, is a serious testament to its excellence. 2. Kansas City Royals Brisket Tacos. Photo, USA Today Sports. The presumptive favorite heading into the event, the Royals Brisket Tacos did not disappoint. There were a whole lot of nachos and variations on nachos at Food Fest, and a handful of them seemed bolder and more interesting than the Royals entry, but it turns out just piling a bunch of barbecue stuff, brisket, barbecue sauce and beans, notably, atop tortilla chips makes for a delicious ballpark snack. 3. Oakland A's Monty Crush Davis Cristo. Photo, USA Today Sports. Arguably the biggest surprise of the night, even if I still don't understand why they just jammed the name Crush Davis into the middle of Monte Cristo. I have to be missing a pun here, right? Why wouldn't they just call it the Monte Chris Davis, or even the Manti Crusto? But as it turns out, serving ham, turkey and cheese on Belgian waffles with strawberry preserves makes for a delicious sandwich. I feared the combination of the waffles and the strawberries would make this sway too far toward dessert to comfortably carry ham and turkey, but they had the light hand with the jelly and it turned out to be a perfect savory/sweet mix. If you know me and know how much time I have spent thinking about sandwiches, this may surprise you. The Monty Crush Davis Cristo will likely inspire me to experiment in ways I haven't before, incorporating jams and jellies into more traditional lunch meat sandwiches. So that's cool. 4. Minnesota Twins Curd Markzook. Photo, USA Today Sports. The curd markzook is a big pile of sausage slices and fried cheese curds with gravy, and so I kind of assumed it to be a staple dish of the upper Midwest. Turns out it's just a Target-field thing, and it's awesome. Slicing up the sausage into fairly thin slices ensures that every piece maintains some snap, and the gravy wasn't enough to rob the fried cheese curds of their crunch. And there's a warm, herbal flavor, I think, in the gravy, that somehow makes a big pile of sausage and fried cheese curds taste almost elegant. Is it sage? I think it might be sage. 5. Tampa Bay Rays Reuben Cuban. Photo, USA Today Sports. Like the Gray album, the rare mashup that stacks up well against the source material, the Reuben Cuban combines the best of both the Reuben sandwich and the Cuban sandwich in a way that addresses the inherent drawbacks to both. If the Reuben lacks the depth to its meat flavors and often seems like just a big wall of corned beef, adding pulled pork and sausage creates variation to the meat in both flavor and texture. If Cuban sandwiches, too often, represent a set of salty and vinegary things desperate for some sort of sweet thing or spicy thing, then the addition of the Russian dressing solves it. Inspired. 6. Miami Marlins Bacon-wrapped plantain. Photo, USA Today Sports. The Marlins bacon-wrapped plantain lands here in part because it's so unusual by the standards of ballpark foods, and unlike anything else served at the event. It turns out it's really good. It's definitely leans toward the sweet side due to the plantain and the guava marmalade, and I kind of wanted the queso blanco and cilantro to do a little more work. But bacon, somehow, continues to expand its incredible repertoire, and plays well as a plantain wrapper. 7. Chicago White Sox, Southside Horseshoe, photo, USA Today Sports. I almost skipped this one entirely, the way people frequently skip the White Sox while listing Chicago sports teams. That would have been a mistake. It doesn't look like much, but it's excellent. The piece of meat poking out from under the fries down there is not a burger patty but an Italian sausage patty, served open-faced on a piece of Texas toast and covered in cheese sauce. The patty itself is moist and flavorful, the bread is buttery and soft, and the cheese sauce is cheese sauce. Would eat again. Honorable mention, Seattle Mariners, toasted grasshoppers, photo, USA Today Sports. The Mariners' toasted grasshoppers seemed like easily the most anticipated dish on the Food Fest menu, as they've created a heck of a lot of internet buzz since landing in Safeco Park last year. They're good, but, perhaps surprisingly, rather innocuous tasting. It was fun in people cringe before putting a grasshopper in their mouth, then chew it and just kind of shrug. They're crunchy and salty, and with lime juice squeezed on top, they're vaguely reminiscent of drinking a Corona at the beach. They're in no way objectionable, but they don't really taste interesting enough to